racing will be of the highest caliber when the bell tolls at the start of the 2006 ABSA Off-Road Championship season. It will be to the roads and fields of Darling in the Western Cape that they will set sail for. Hello again, off-roaders. This is Arnold Getz, and this is the Glassball program of the 06 Off-Road Battle for Supremacy in Southern Africa. It's an 8-race-long season which will test man, machine and pit crew to the utmost, spanning some of the most inhospitable terrain on the southernmost tip of the continent. To add further fuel to the competitive fire is a new class of racing, the SP class or Super Production, which debuts this year. For the Ford crew and former SA chap Neil Woolridge, their endurance has paid off.
Well, we're on the home run now, hopefully. It's been a long road, but I think we finally turned the corner, and as you can see, the car is painted and ready for final assembly now. So, as I say, it's been a long road, but it's the home run now. We've got everything ready. The whole car's been assembled once before, so it's the final, put everything together and make sure it works now.
The Ford Racing team will run 2 4-litre Ford Rangers in the SP class in 2006. But after all those figures, what figures best in producing a top-class off-road vehicle such as this?
Yeah, this is the room where we build all our composite parts. In the past, we've outsourced everything, and we sort of got the idea from a company which we dealt with in France, where I went over there and I was amazed to see that they did almost everything in-house, even down to making their own stickers. And when I questioned them as to why, they said, well, it's the only way that you can have total reliability, know that it's done at the right time, and the quality is good. So we've tried to do that as much as possible where we can. Obviously, we don't have the resources to do everything ourselves. But yes, we do now have Gary, who's joined us, who will build all our composite parts for ourselves, in-house, all our body parts, back fenders, front fenders, doors, things like that. So it's been very helpful in that we're getting it done when we want it, how we want it, and in time. So it's quite a big site for us. Also, when there's damage to the cars, we don't have to wait for other people to help us and get things done quickly and on time.
And time is what it's all about. The clock is the ultimate competitor. It never sleeps, it never eats, and it never needs a rest. But the engines in these cars take a pounding. Which one will it be in 06?
We didn't use an Australian motor. We used in last year's, in the T cars, we used the Ford Mondeo engine, which we bought out to a 3.3-litre engine. But this year, the regulations state that it has to be the engine from the model range. In other words, in our case, we have to use the 4-litre Ranger motor. So we've opted to do the development work with a company we've worked with for a long time in France, a company called Arica. They've done all our engines in the past and proved to be very good. So they've done all the development on the engine for us, which in the first tests and that we've had and the dyno reports and that we're very excited about. It works very well. We've got a good amount of torque out of the engine, and yeah, we're looking forward to some good things from it.
Reigning Class D champion Ford driver Manfred Schroeder seemed the obvious choice to pilot an SP car, but he will suit up for the Class E championship, while the impressive Shamir Wariyawa will take the wheel of the big Ranger SP.
Yeah, it was a bit of a controversial thing in that obviously we wanted to stay with Manfred Schroeder. He'd been a tried and tested a product with us, and it performed very well, won many championships with us, and so it was sort of the natural progression to go onto the new SP class, but it was a business decision at the end of the day. Shamir's a young up-and-coming driver. He's 28 years old. He's put himself through a driving school in America. He's spent a lot of money on his own and has imported porters and things like that. And we believe that he's a very good choice. I think he's going to do well. And as I say, he's young, he's dynamic, and I've no doubt he's going to take a bit of time to settle into the car. You don't just step out of a space frame into a production vehicle of this caliber. So I don't think we can expect him to win in the first race, but hopefully by mid-season we'll see him up to scratch and doing well.
Wariyawa has managed to put together an impressive combination. Fuel giant Total and Ford team up, and for the 28-year-old it's a chance to step up to the production car class after more than a dozen years a little closer to the ground.
The car behind me is going to be used by Sam Muller, which is my uncle, and he's going to drive it under the Oven Fresh banner. I managed to get a factory drive with Ford, together with Total, being my sponsor from last year. So the car will be known as a Total Ford Ranger. Total are ecstatic about it, Ford are ecstatic about it. I think it called for a change. I've been driving special vehicles for the last 13 years, and I think we need some new blood in the Class SP with all the dealers, and Ford managed to give me this opportunity, and I got Total to back the whole thing, and that's how it all came about. I think this year is going to be very, very, very challenging. You got Toyota, I believe, have got Bevan driving for them, the two Nissans, the two Toyotas, two Fords. I believe there's some privateers as well. So it calls for a very interesting year. Our strategy is to get used to the car first before we try and attack the rest of the field. So that's what our intention is.
Intention is one thing and regulations another. To squeeze every ounce of available power out of the car, there were some weight changes made. Schroeder feels that this will improve handling for the team with a well-known blue and white logo.
So last year our car was a 4-litre, so it had to weigh 200 kgs more than this year's car. So with power to weight ratio there won't be that much difference. We've taken off I think about 200 kgs. And yeah, the car will definitely be handling a lot better and be a lot lighter. I think the costs of running a Class D were too expensive. They tend to go a bit faster and tend to break more things. You used to race a diesel and you used to race a thing for 2 years on the same good diff, on the same gearbox, same motor. It's a really cheap way of going racing.
The Ford team have no less than 2 Class E Rangers entered in the 2006 ABSA Off-Road Championship, while Manfred will drive the one and Oldface is back on the scene. Rob Gurney will pilot the second car and says a diesel engine vehicle will also present him with some new challenges.
I've been racing in the off-road scene, bikes and cars, for the last 25 years. And I thought I'd like to step back up to the national scene where the competition is a bit tighter and try and make a mark in that series. Racing this diesel is going to be something new for me because I've raced the nationals in Class B before, and it's going to be a lot new experience, but I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Ford will be an unknown quantity in the SP class on the SA off-road scene, but one of the established giants of the sport in South Africa is undoubtedly Toyota. The Japanese motor manufacturer has won a massive amount of championships over all the years, and they plan to add more in the immediate future. In 2006, their assault will be spread across the whole spectrum of super production cars and classes D and E, with no less than 12 teams parading the red, white and green of the Castrol Toyota outfit. There have also been some driver changes due to the fact that Paolo Piazzamusso has retired, while Gavin Cronier will campaign in the Italian Formula 3000 Championship Series. The factory team will be led by the 2 Toyota Hilux 4-litre V6 SP class entries of Marc Cronier and Bevan Bertolt, who also moves from the space frames to the big bangers. At the announcement of the new look team at the headquarters of the motor manufacturer Toyota, there was an air of expectancy and an atmosphere which spoke of excitement. Almost a matter of let the games begin. Toyota Motorsport team leader John Rudman takes us through the proceedings and the team.
This year we starting off with Marc Cronier and Chris Birkin as last year, but unfortunately we've lost Gavin to overseas drive, and we'll be using Bevan Bertolt and navigating with Robin Houghton. Marc Cronier will be starting off in his SP that Cliff Barker drove end of last year, and Bevan unfortunately will be driving the old Class D bakkie until the new one's ready for Sugarbelt. I think that Bevan's bringing a lot of experience with him. He's been in off-road for many years. He's got production car experience. So I think overall he'll adapt quite well to off-road conditions.
And that's what they've always done. Young Marc Cronier, though, did not enjoy the best of seasons in 05, but he plans to exercise that memory ASAP.
Last year we had a bit of a turret season. We started off quite well, had a small off in the beginning of the year, and then towards the end of the year it was going quite well. We were on track, and yeah, unfortunately in Lydenburg I had quite a big off. Fortunately I still can't remember much of it, so I don't think I'll ever remember. But yeah, looking forward to the new season. The guys are doing a tremendous job on the new vehicles. I think we're gonna have a competitive vehicle. We've got some serious testing ahead of us, I think we need to look at getting the bakkie up to speed as fast as possible, and with the event coming up, I think we might have a good shot at it. Moving up to SP has been it's been quite a jump for me. We've done some small test work earlier on this year, and the capabilities of the vehicle are just far superior compared to a standard vehicle. And I do believe that the vehicle is going to be a far quicker vehicle than the other one. It's just a matter of making it Toyota tough, and I think we can achieve that. The vehicle just does everything so well. The vehicle brakes well, it accelerates well, versus the standard production vehicle. You know, it's much harder on your body, where with the SP it's much softer on your body, it's much more drivable. So I do believe that the events are going to become more fun to drive. You know, doing it in a standard or near standard bakkie, it really takes a lot out of you, and a lot of people don't understand what sort of pressure you go through just on the physical side. And I actually think going up a notch might even be better. You know, it might even not be as physical as the current vehicle, and I think it's going to help in terms of durability. You know, especially when we're doing 2-day stints, for instance, in the desert race. You know, to help us to be quick right the way through, and I think it's going to be an achievable task with the new vehicle.
Having said that, how important is the physical side of the driver's responsibility? Is fitness and the maintenance thereof important? After all, Mark is lining up in 2 disciplines in 06.
You've got to look after your fitness in terms of durability, again, in terms of back and neck strength. There are a number of key points in off-road racing which you've got to concentrate on. And one of them also the eating habits, especially leading up to an event. It's important to look after your system and keep yourself going after a long sort of day. Otherwise you just end up in trouble, and especially with me doing 2 types of events this year, being off-road and rallying. They're a week apart, so physically I've got to try and get myself in tune so that I don't end up compromising one of the events.
For Bevan Bertolt, it's a great opportunity, from the special to the 4x4, and he was amazed at the team, the car and the preparation.
Yeah, I got a bit lucky with the opportunity. They from racing that big horsepower Sandmaster to a 4x4 is nice, but most of all I think it's very nice that Toyota have really backed me and believe in me to have chosen me to come and drive one of the super production cars. We went testing in the rain for like 3 hours in this Class D car, just to get the feel of it in the narrower track in the 4x4 and the limited slip diff in the middle. It's got a special lever. Very different to drive, and you know, it's actually amazing what kind of a bakkie they built here. People say, oh, it's bumpy, it's isn't it? I really was expecting like a standard car. It's a very impressive car actually. We jumped it a little bit, and it's phenomenal in the turns. The traction of the 4x4 is excellent. You do miss the power, obviously, of that 450 horsepower LS1 motor. But I can't believe how well Mark has done with this bakkie in the overall compared to what I had. So, as I said, we're in the rain for 3 hours. It was like driving in a swimming pool for 3 hours. Not one misfire, nothing. They prepared an impeccable car, and the mechanics in the Toyota team is fantastic. And that's the biggest change that I've found. I've never had so much support. Guys really looking after you, and their preparation is impeccable. So it's fantastic to belong to a team like this. And I think in Cape Town, I've got a lot to learn in a bakkie. You can't just get in these cars and expect to be in the front and that. So it'll be a great 500 Ks is enough to learn enough in this car. And I don't mind where I finish. I just want to bring it home without any problems. But when we get to Sugarbelt, then it's back to serious winning, because I'll have that power back again, and we'll have a car that can win. And this team is excessively dedicated to winning. I really underestimated them. And then I've got to know a lot of the guys, and I see how many hours they put into these cars. We are going to win. Just a matter of time.
And timing is everything, including handling a bucking Bronco such as this. How different and difficult is it to handle one of these as compared to the special vehicle?
With the difference in the weight between the Sandmaster as opposed to this, you always got a different braking time. So this car is slightly heavier, probably about 500 kilograms heavier. You got to brake a bit earlier. Then you balance the throttle and you accelerate earlier as well through the corner, because it's got more traction. So in other words, you're getting a lot less understeer. So you can therefore put the power on a lot earlier. which if you take the overall amount of corners that you're going through in an off-road race, it makes up for the time you make on the high-speed straights. So they always say the faster car is the one that can go in a straight line for the longest. But in off-road, there's a hell of a lot of corners, and that's how these guys make up their time on the faster cars. So I think when you get the combination between the Class D that I'm going to drive in Cape Town and the super production for Sugarbelt, you'll have a hell of a balance between the speed and the cornering, and that's why these cars are phenomenal, you know.
And that's still ahead. So is a lot more of our 2006 ABSA Off-Road Championship preview, which continues on the other side of these.